right now is genuinely a critical moment in our country's history. The budget discussion that you're engaged in and that you're going to engage more actively in over the next few days is not just a budget discussion. It is an expression of our values and our commitment to drive and achieve these specific results. This is the moment when America must decide whether we're going to engage and lead the world, actively using our tools of diplomacy, development, and defense to improve human welfare and freedom. Or we can decide to retract, leaving many of the poorest people, many of the most fragile countries without assistance and without support, leaving other global powers like China to continue to make tremendous inroads and investments in sub-Saharan Africa. And they deserve credit for doing so. And to promote alternative economic and political models, which they also do when they make those investments. Budgets are an expression of policy. They're an expression of priorities. They're an expression of values. And just to put it in stark contrast, some of the budget proposals surfacing and that have passed in the House present a confusing picture of what those values are. These proposals mean the Feed the Future program that will reach the 18 million people in the 20 countries I described would effectively be shut down because it was called a presidential initiative. They mean that we wouldn't be able to actively invest in women and girls, depriving 10 million girls of their right to a basic education. We were here applauding 10,000 women who are change agents for the world. Imagine depriving 10 million girls of an effective basic education and literacy skills, leaving them vulnerable to further social and financial marginalization. They mean that all development assistance would be contracted out with little oversight to prevent fraud, waste, or abuse, and little capacity to do innovative things like the Grand Challenges program that we launched just this morning because of a disproportionate cut to operating expenses, which are seen as, wasted public sector resources, when in fact they're the opposite. They allow us to better manage programs, save money, and protect U.S. tax dollars. And they would mean we would not be able to respond to the next major natural disasters, or lead in the next humanitarian crisis, or be at the forefront of supporting new and innovative groups in the evolution of democracies emerging around the world. Throughout my time as administrator, I've spoken to leaders of every stripe and every party, and they all agree for the U.S. to continue a robust foreign assistance program. I visited Afghanistan and Pakistan with Senator Lindsey Graham, whom I met with yesterday and who's a strong advocate for the work that we do here. Last week, I visited Kay Warren at the Saddleback Church, and I was so pleasantly surprised to learn that they have mobilized 14,000 of their members to travel around the world, identify other communities of faith, and connect with them so that they could begin to expand their programs that started in HIV/AIDS but now focus on hunger, water and sanitation, and women and girls. And in country after country, I've witnessed the effective collaboration between the USAID missions and the CARE country office staff, and I'm pleased to understand there's so many CARE country representatives here today. Our assistance is not just a line in a budget. It is a reflection of who we are as a country. If we implement a budget that looks like the one that just passed the House, we will effectively end 6 decades of a bipartisan tradition of U.S. leadership in global development. Our assistance programs started under President Eisenhower, crystallized under President Truman. President Kennedy sent a letter to Congress that created USAID. And President Bush made amazing advances to put 4 million people on antiretroviral therapy and save their lives, launched the malaria program I just talked about, launched the food security program that we've built into Feed the Future, launch efforts to invest in civil society organizations in places like Egypt that have paid beyond their dividends. These are bipartisan efforts, and our administration is committed to maintaining U.S. leadership around the world. Our development, our diplomacy, and our defense must work together, and we must be smart about it. So I appreciate what you are up to We need your help now more than ever, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks very much.